A written book of glitter kind sits on my Kindle behind all the other things that I should be reading instead. But here we are, so let's all critique this text in this react. Yeah, yeah. Oh, oh. Hey, hi, hello there, and welcome to an episode of Let's Read Anna's book, Glitter and Lasers book, which is called A Life Full of Glitter. Oh, for those of you who have been following my, community page, you don't follow my community page. There's a lot of cat pictures there. You're missing out. If you follow my community page, you will know that I have purchased Anna's book, A Life Full of Glitter, something positivity, something. Hang on, let me go back and read it. A Life Full of Glitter, a guide to positive thinking, self-acceptance, and finding your sparkle in a sometimes negative world. I bought the Kindle edition just so that you know, there's not going to be like a page 5. I don't have pages. It's a Kindle book. And I also purchased the audio version, and I think that was because it was free with my Kindle purchase, because I am a Kindle Unlimited member. There you go. Words. Now, Anna reads her audio version of this. And Anna is a decent reader. I will give her that. However, Anna does a good job of just kind of reading it as a nonfiction book. And of course, since she's the one that wrote it, we can argue about this later. Since she's the one that wrote it, reading it herself, you know, she knows how she meant for things to sound because she's the one who technically wrote it. Now, so I'm going through the product details of this book. Now, this was published in September 15th of on September 15th of 2018. The publisher is Mango Media, so I'm guessing that's like a smaller publishing house. I'm not going to look them up because I don't actually care that much. If you do, by all means, go do that. And I would, if you want to give me like the TLDR version of it, I would be more than happy. But it's not Kindle. So this was not a self-published book. Mango Media might be a vanity press, but it's not Kindle's. It's not Amazon Kindle. Anyway, no one cares. So this book is, you know, it's under motivational growth and spirituality because that's all one category apparently. It's under spiritual growth and self-help. It's under positivity and thinking. It's also under family and personal growth. And my favorite one is feminist theory. This book is apparently feminist theory. It is not. Just because a woman writes a book doesn't make it feminist theory, okay? Can we just accept this as a fact? All right, so it has 300, wash, I wish you would. I bet she wishes it did. It has 132 reviews. 60% are 5-star, 17% are 4-star, 11 3-star, 2 stars, percentages, these are percentages, and 4% is 1-star. So actually, I'm kind of interested in the 1-star reviews. I love reading people's reviews. Some people are just absolutely unreasonable when they don't like a book. It's just the dumbest reasons to not like a book sometimes. The first person says, I'm not going to read people's screen names just because me. So the first person's one is disappointing. I was really hoping for a different point of view. This is just another power of positive thinking junk. Do not waste your money or time on this. This author has shared her life via social media for many years. So it's confusing to me that she would write a book about being a positive person when you can find so much evidence online otherwise. This was written in April of 2021. While Anna likes to portray someone with a lot of body confidence, she seems to lack interpersonal social skills and healthy coping mechanisms. This is from 2021. What the fuck happened in 2021? I've only been following her since last year. I think she is more comfortable playing the role of a successful, self-assured, strong, independent woman than she is actually being that person in real life. Her book reads like the straight-up fiction to me. I mean, if you watch enough of her videos, you will see inconsistencies in her stories. Interesting. She likes to embellish, turn everything into drama, and play the victim. It's almost like she's trying to manifest the attitude she wants to have by writing about it, but is still too stuck in denial and full resentment to make progress. Yes, I will say while reading this book, I do pick up on that. So yes, I do. I did go into this book already knowing I probably wouldn't like it. I couldn't help myself from reading it, but you can. Just don't do it. Um, I am someone who has read a lot of self-help books. When I was a youngin', 16 to 18, I really enjoyed self-help books. I really did. I know that's a weird thing to like at that age, but so I've read a lot of them. And I've read a lot of like business how-to books, like networking and, how to make friends and influence people, those kind of things. I've read all of that stuff. So I think I have a discerning palate when it comes to like self-help and success style books. This being Anna's book kind of reads like someone like me wrote it by borrowing whole concepts from other books and not bothering to put my own spin on it. The thing that you need to hear me say there is I am not saying she's plagiarizing this in any way, shape, or form. I'm saying it's very uninspired. It just sounds like she's regurgitating things she's heard other people say. And that in its essence is not wrong. It just doesn't make for a good book. All right. The last one is from 2019, July of 2019. Generic advice. I thought the writing needed more editing. Yeah, I kind of feel that too. It's not very tight, the editing. The advice was nothing new. I feel the author is delusional about her fame. I want to be supportive of her overall message, but she is too much. Hey, man. Now, these are the 1 stars, okay? Now, this is another person who just wrote disappointing. Got this as a gift and was not impressed. A generic view, generic phrases, be positive bull. Nothing to stand out from the crowd of all the other positive thinking books. The language skills of the writer are so simplistic and childish. They're not what I would expect from somebody who is trying to write a impactful book, I guess is what I should say. Maybe the price point when they resell it will be closer to what you should pay for the contents of this waste of trees. Dang, people. Damn. I can't wait to see the negative reviews of my own books. Price on a stick. That was rough. So, but that was only what, five reviews. Some people will give a star review to a book without leaving a written review to it, so that's how you can get more reviews than you have actual like worded reviews. Anyway, this one's from October of 2018. Hypocritical despite being well-intentioned. I appreciate the intention behind this book, but in order to give life advice, I feel you should be qualified in something other than large Instagram following. It is my personal opinion that in order to give advice on leading a healthy, positive life, you need to be creating that for yourself as well. Anna can claim she's happy and healthy, but anyone who would treat her body properly... Anna can claim she's happy and healthy, but anybody who would treat their body properly. Reading is a skill. I give Anna props for owning her body and dressing it in the best clothing she can find, but there's a deeper issue here. She wasn't born this way. There are deep psychological issues behind gaining so much weight that you become 400 plus pounds, and it inhibits your way of living, whether she wants to admit it or not. Nobody wants to be carrying around that kind of weight, and it's debilitating in so many ways. So let's skip down to this. When you're an example to live by, then you can write a book giving advice to strangers. Until then, focus on treating yourself better. Wishing you the best. That's the British go fuck yourself. And the other 2-star review from July of 2019. Not sure how I feel about it. It was difficult to listen to. It did not hold my attention. I am sad to report that I did not really get too much out of this book. I enjoyed the peppy narration, but overall it's not a book that held my attention. Ouch. I struggled to get through the first half and actually stopped listening near the middle. I wish I could return it. I cannot wait to see what the horrible reviews on my books are going to be. Now, she does have, obviously, more positive reviews, 5 and 4 stars. I just read the 2 and the 1 stars, which are always going to be terrible by nature. But she does have a ton of really good reviews. Mostly they're people who are her followers who really like her, kind of like the people leaving the worst reviews are people who followed her and don't like her. So it's a trade. But the important part here is that this book has more positive reviews than it does negative reviews. And that's if you group all of the 3, 2, and 1 stars together, they do not come anywhere near the number 4 and 5 stars that she has. Okay? So overall, the book is well received. All right. So Anna has a author page, and I just want to read the author bio to you. I despise writing. Every time I've ever presented anything or ever did a panel or just in general, like even when the podcast, you have to have an about page about yourself and they want a picture of your face there. You got to like talk about yourself. And it's not like you can just like bullet point list your credentials and that kind of stuff. And I hate writing them. I hate them. I wish someone else would write them for me. And I've actually managed to get people to do that on a few occasions, but for the most part, you have to brag about yourself a little. And that's kind of the point I want to get to here. The about page is where it's supposed to be a space where you're allowed to talk yourself up. You're allowed to brag on yourself. You're allowed to like take out your shoes and polishing them up all nice and shiny and put on your best makeup and do your hair, and that's your about page, okay? So as I read this, just keep that part in mind. Anna O'Brien was born with a big mouth, a big heart, and big ideas. She recently published A Life Full of Glitter, a modern guide to positive thinking that incorporates storytelling, scientific research, and executable steps to help readers lead a more fulfilling life. We will get into the scientific research, by the way. When you put something... Look, I'm willing to give people a lot of leeway, but as soon as you start saying scientific research, I need to see certain things for that to be true. Otherwise, you're just looking at science's ass, and that's not enough. But anyway, we'll get into that. She also shares her life, learning, and fearless inspiration daily on glitterandlasers.com. Once a side project, Glitter plus Lasers has quickly grown to become a cornerstone in the motivational and fashion communities, boasting over 600K followers across platforms. Because none of those followers could possibly be overlap. It's not how that works, but whatever. It works for this. Anna is also an accomplished global speaker, having presented in over 10 countries at events such as South by Southwest, Adweek, Social Media Week, and more. She is known for her candid and captivating presentation style and her ability to transform difficult concepts into executable steps. Really? When? And what do you mean you've spoken all these different countries? Like, are you counting Finland? Because just because you were there doesn't mean you spoke in Finland. Where left brain meets right is where you'll find Anna. Okay. A data-centric individual since day one. God, this is terrible. Let me try that again. A data-centric individual since day one, Anna has a master's in quantitative methods in the social sciences from Columbia University. While at Columbia, she researched how digital media has adapted and changed patterns in human social behavior. Weird. Anthropology does that too. Huh. It's almost as if it's an important topic. I'm sorry, I'm just being spicy. It's not the worst one I've ever read, so. She's such an inspirational writer, reader. giving instruction person that she's only written one book. She's only written one book in 6 years. Most of the like inspirational people who write these kind of books and who like make it part of their identity usually put out a book a year or a book every couple years, or they'll put their book out and put out revised editions. There's no revised edition of this. This is the original edition. That's not a bad thing. It's just this book feels a lot like Anna needed to be able to say she's an author, and so she kind of slapped this together and published it. And so now she can say, I have a book. I am a published author. I mean, I have a book. I am a published author. Now ask me how many people have read my book. But that's kind of my point. You know, I can say that. Not a damn person's read my book. And I'm not mad about it. I'm just pointing it out. Okay? Just because you have a book that's published doesn't mean that it's, like, good. You know? So, all right, we've looked over her bio. Have we read the description of the book yet? We have not. Let's read the book snippet. That's a whole other thing. Also, feminist theory. Keep that one filed away. I'm not saying it's anti-feminist theory. I'm just saying, like, I've taken feminist theory. Just because a woman writes a book doesn't make it feminist theory. All right. So this is the blurb on Amazon about the book. A modern guide to optimism from the plus-sized fashion blogger and founder of Glitter Plus Lasers. A, quote, beacon of body positivity and no bullshit takes. From Revlist. I'm not savvy enough to know who that is. Bullying, loss, regret, and fear impact our lives in tough-to-deal-with ways. Learn to confront these and other challenges like the world's happiest people do as opportunities. Armed with humor and a good attitude, author Anna O'Brien will teach you how to combat the negativity in life in this motivational self-help guide. Yep. It can be difficult to process and move on from unresolved issues that are holding us back from our most positive lives. That's why they're called unresolved issues, so yes. A Life Full of Glitter introduces the concept of, quote, long game thinking. Huh. Came up with that one on your own, did you? Which will help you reframe temporary setbacks and focus on long-term happiness. Discover easy-to-use tips and tricks to increase your positivity and personal growth. Boy, let me tell you about the tips and tricks in here. Modern research shows that positivity improves almost every aspect of your life. A Life Full of Glitter will walk you through the findings of this research with real-life examples and humorous, teachable moments from the author Anna O'Brien's own life. Allow Anna's book to help you increase your happiness and self-esteem. A Life Full of Glitter is a modern guide to positive thinking presented through relevant research, captivating storytelling, and plenty of humor. We have different definitions of humor. We'll get to that. In reading this book, you will learn quick tips and tricks for shifting your mind to think positively, be introduced to new ways to address everyday challenges, master how to move on from feelings and experiences that are holding you back from happiness. These people, Instagram people, like influencers are just like a whole other breed of people, are they not? Quote, I've never seen anyone write with as much authenticity and spark as Anna, end quote. Megan J. Krabby, Instagram star and author of Body Positive Power. I'm not looking this up. I just like that this person literally says Instagram star. That's something. That is something. So we have read Anna's bio. We have read the blurb of the book. We have read a good chunk of the book. We're not fully through it yet. We being the royal we. But I'm far enough through it that I can start doing chapters. So, kind of like how you teach. You just have to stay one chapter ahead of the class. I learned that as a sub. All right, so the first chapter is chapter 1, The Benefits of a More Positive Life. There is an introduction. It is 4 paragraphs, and it's basically Anna telling you how she wrote a book. I wrote a book! So there you go. So we're just going to jump into chapter 1. Now, Anna kind of inadvertently tells us a lot about herself throughout this book, especially when it comes to her little anecdotes about herself in the book. Contrary to the person leaving the review, in order to do this, we need to be able to trust the book and the book's author. We have to assume that the author is reliable and that this isn't an unreliable narrator moment. So we start off the first chapter. That being said, anytime Anna tells a story, basically is what I'm saying is we kind of have to believe it and take it at face value because we don't have any ability to kind of counter it, nor is that the purpose of this review. We're not here to debunk anything. We're here to review the book, okay? If somebody else wants to take it upon themselves to debunk the everyday aspects and the history of Anna O'Brien as a person, I feel like that's a bit much, but I mean somebody out there that's... we have Mr. Snowflake, let's just let him do it. So send Mr. Snowflake the book, have him do Anna. Jeez. Anyway, so again, we start this off. The first chapter is The Benefits of a More Positive Life. Keep in mind, Anna does say that there's supposed to be scientific research throughout this book. We'll get to that. If you can't tell about my skepticism by what I think of that at this point. So if we start off with Anna basically telling us about how she felt that motivational speakers were lame. She calls them real-life aged Kindles. And that they had perfect lives that she was envious of, complete with custom-made Italian suits and fancy mini microphones. This line here, like, this stuff really does tell a lot. Like, the very last line of the first paragraph is, while I still had to... let me read the whole damn thing. God, this is such a run-off sentence. She's like the queen of run-on sentences. That's what Anna is. Let's see. I'd shut off the TV, envious that Ken got to live his perfect life, complete with a custom-made Italian suit and fancy mini microphone, while I still had to make a diorama explaining the plot of To Kill a Mockingbird out of toothpicks and crushed dreams. She's a teenager. She's a teenager. Okay, I get that when you're a teenager, you feel that way, right? We are all dramatic teens. All of us were, probably. I was. Anyhow, if I were to write a book in my early 30s, early to mid 30s, I feel like I would have enough, like, self-awareness to know that my dreams haven't been crushed yet. I'm a teenager. I haven't even started trying to live these dreams, let alone have them crushed. Now, Anna does mention, kind of here, where is it? Oh, I'm sorry. She was 13. I was looking for I thought she said something about, yeah, the struggles of a chubby geek girl with acne, bullies, and a crush on every boy. At 13. So, even at the age of 13, Anna was already, well, not to put too fine a point on it, she was the fat kid. I know, a lot of us were chubby at 13, especially if you're from the Midwest, which she's from Ohio, so, Ohio. Anyway, laugh at my bad jokes. Let's see, she says, even now, she's writing, I definitely didn't have the media-driven, quote, cool teenager body. And I said, my note says, body positivity starts early in this book. So there we go. Anna mentions that she was so unruly that she got sent to a special school for wayward children. Now, I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna hope Anna got sent to a private school because in my public school system, there was one school that the kids got sent to. It was called the Renaissance School, and it was where the kids who were unmanageable went. And it's also where the kids in juvie went. Not necessarily the same kids, but they went to the same school. And I I substitute taught there a few times when I became a substitute teacher after graduating. And it's a really scary place. And I really would hope no one ever has to have a child go through that school because honestly, it was a shame. And it really did kind of solidify my negative opinions of like schooling in general, that a school like that would even exist. So I really hope that's not where Anna ended up because I wouldn't wish that kind of a school on like literally anyone, including the kids that were there. It's where they sent the kids that they just gave up on, kind of a thing. And I don't care if people hear me say that because it's true. It's what happened. All right. So I really hope that when she says she was sent to a school for wayward children, she was sent to some kind of like military-esque private school where they're trying to make you a better person. Okay? I'm sure at 13 it didn't feel that way. But anyway, she was lonely, she was angry at the world, she was envious of people who had simpler lives, and she was confused as to her own personal identity. She was 13. Now, I'm not sure what was going on in her life exactly at the age of 13, but it does sound like there was a lot. So hopefully as we get further along in the book, that might get revealed. But right now I'm just kind of like imagining what could have been. Kids act out. Keep in mind, we're talking about 13-year-old Anna here, not near 40-year-old Anna right now. Kids act out in different ways depending on what's going on in their home lives. And as my therapist said to me, good professionals know how to recognize that. So, it's that kind of a thing. Like, I feel like there's clearly something going on. And just by the way she's writing about it in this book from 2018 as adult Anna, it doesn't feel like she's resolved it. It doesn't feel like she's dealt with it. And I mean, if that's true, I honestly do really hope, like if Anna ever sees this, which I highly doubt she will, but I mean, I really hope you can find a good therapist because trust me, it's worth it. I know not everyone in the world has access to that kind of stuff, but Anna does. And it really will make your life so much better. Anyway. So, let's see. I remember very clearly sitting in this class of unruly children. Notice that the other children are unruly, but not her. Pondering my future. She's 13. To the left of a teacher who was literally tackling a student who'd begun a violent outburst. To the right, another student was slowly punching the front of their forehead over and over. Sometimes the person we bully most is ourselves. This is where people are talking about how like the writing in this just needed a good editor. That was unneeded. In this terrible moment, I realized something had to change. Maybe it was some sort of divine intervention, or maybe, just maybe, I was sick and tired of the person I was. I couldn't change the circumstances around me, so I would have to be the one to change. If I didn't, my life would be a complete waste. It was then that my story began to evolve. It's a very astute 13-year-old. I'm not knocking 13-year-olds. I know that some of them can be very mature. But I'm going to guess if you're already in a school that sounds a lot like that Renaissance school I just got done talking about, this is where hopes go to die at the age of 13. That's a lot. Like, there's a lot here. That's what I'm talking about. This paragraph, knowing the age she is, knowing the kind of school she sounds like she's in, there is a lot going on here. And I just don't feel like Anna's ever addressed it to herself. She owes us nothing here. I don't want her to put this on the internet. Like, this is not something that ever needs to be spoken on social media. But it just doesn't feel like she's dealt with it internally on her own. That's my personal opinion. As someone who is themselves working through their childhood. Okay? Anyway, she goes on to motivate us. That's why we've picked up this book, because we as well are ready to change. Are you ready to change? Sit up straight. That's the first change in life. Sit up straight, put your shoulders back, relax, roll your shoulders out. Yeah. You feel changed yet? So she says, by the time I got to college, my life was unrecognizable. So from 13 till generously 19, 18. So in 6 years, all of which are her teenage years, she totally metamorphosed. She entered university on an exception. Her grades had been too poor during her rebellious days to get into most schools. However, her newfound positivity was a force to be reckoned with at the age of 18, earliest. I found an exceptions committee, prepared my case, and found my way into a good school anyway. Most colleges have an exceptions committee, and they also have exceptions for students. They'll put you on something called academic probation, and basically that means your grades suck, but they see some potential in you, or they need to make a quota. And so they're going to let you in on the stipulation that your grades have to stay above a certain GPA during your probationary period. And after that, you're in like Flynn. And it's usually like a semester to 2 semesters. Sometimes it's like your entire freshman year. Basically, you just have to prove to them that you are actually there to do the work. And so a lot of schools will do that. A lot of schools will take people like that. I'm not saying she didn't make a good argument for her case to get into the college. I'm just saying there's nothing unusual about what she did. Anyone could do this if they knew it was available. So there's that, I guess. Yeah. I'm so sorry. We're never getting through this. I attribute the majority of my growth in those years to positivity. That belief in a better life molded me into the lady boss I am today. She is a boss. Like a boss. Yeah. And basically she just kind of goes on to humble brag for a little bit about like how being positive and happy is the reason why she's got what she's got. If that was really all you needed in life, there'd be a lot more people succeeding. I can see you sitting there reading my story and making me out to be an exception to the rule. I got lucky. I was an I was an anomaly. I can't blame you. Old me would have done the exact same thing. Maybe I come across like a modern version of that dapper man in his tiny headset. Is he a Ken doll or is he a dapper man? Is he a dandy man? Arr. Anyway, name that quote. It is the scientifically expected outcome of a life lived with zeal. Studies have shown. What studies? Who led the studies? Who are the researchers? Can you tell me what centers for research these are coming out of? Like, were they done in psychology? Were they done in human behavior? Like, there is nothing about this scientific studies that she's talking about. It's literally just studies have shown. What studies, Anna? You have an entire book. You could have put footnotes in here if you didn't want to write it all out in the paragraph. Like, I get that. But you just put like a little 1 next to it, and then you put a footnote down here. It's a Kindle book. You can link it to an appendix in the back. So you don't even have to take up space at the bottom of the page. Like, this is another thing that an editor would have been good for. I don't know who edited this for her, but I feel like she needed a better editor. Somebody who is more familiar with dealing with scientific data in an informal setting. So that's just a personal critique on that. As someone who reads a lot of books like that, because pretty much that's archaeology and anthropology in a nutshell. Most of the books that get published for the public are informal versions of the academic papers that we write. And so instead of citing things inside the paragraphs where it's going to make it unreadable, you just put like a little number and a footnote, and sometimes people will put it down at the bottom of the page. Sometimes they'll have an appendix in the back where it's like chapter 1 notes, and then they'll just list them out by number. You can cross-reference them, you know? It's called citing your sources. Anna's not doing that, and that irritates me a lot. because this is just using the word science to get your attention and make it seem like what she's saying and what she's doing has more authority than it does. All right. I'm not saying that things in here can't be backed and proven by science. I'm saying Anna didn't do that in her book. She's just making claims and saying science says, studies show. There's more steps to it than that. You can't just do that. I mean, you can, but I'm not going to believe you. That's the downside to it. It takes the credibility out of it. So Anna tells us that positive thinkers cope better with stress because science says so. According to research. What research, Anna? In simple terms, it means that no matter what happens in life, you have the ability to be in the emotional driver's seat because you're an optimist. Okay. Where does science say that, Anna? She says, in the early stages of my career, when a problem would arise, I would have to tell no less than every single person in my office, the doorman, and several strangers I wrestled into conversation on the street before I could put the issue to rest. You know what? Same. I have a bad day or something like majorly puts me off. My partner has to hear about it. My best friend has to hear about it. The cats have to hear about it. The car's going to listen to me. Sometimes I'll even open up the phone and record a whole damn video about it to myself, not to share with anyone else. Everyone gets to hear about it until I eventually run out of steam. And then I'm like, you know what? Maybe it's not that bad. Studies have shown. I remember talking with my boss about an issue I was, once again, ruminating on. He stopped me dead in my tracks. I love this so much. If this really happened, I want to know who this man was. He stopped me dead in my tracks, looked me square in the eyes, and said, is talking about this actually making anything better for you? So good. So good. Can you imagine how Anna took that? You've seen her meltdown over someone telling her good job while running. You've seen her meltdown over a Finnish chef telling her tarts were ugly, because I'm assuming her tarts were ugly. You saw her meltdown in Target because they didn't have clothes that fit her in the juniors section. Okay? And you want me to believe that after her boss looks her square in the eye and goes, is this doing anything for you? She just walked out and was like, and she says, quote, to this day, whenever I find myself obsessing over something that does not deserve my emotional energy, I stand up, spread my arms wide, and sing, let it go, let it go. Remember, most of the stress in your day-to-day life can be avoided or even reduced. Shouldn't you say reduced or even avoided? By keeping an upbeat attitude. Research has found. What research, Anna? What research? You can't just say research has found. You guys need to find a book that's like how to lie with maps. And it's about using statistics to lie, maps and statistics to lie. Because a lot of people, A, won't fact check you, and B, if you make it convoluted enough, they can't fact check you. This whole thing about, like, researchers say, studies have found, it's kind of on the same line. Here you go. I have also been able to build better support systems because I've stopped assuming the worst about every situation I enter. Really? Huh. Must we revisit the jogging trail again? Must we? Positive thinking is good for your health. She goes on to tell us a story here where she remembers as a child getting a new Sega Genesis video game system. So that right there kind of dates the moment. Because I don't think Sega Genesis had too many iterations, but it was a good game system. I liked it. So she didn't want to go to school because she wanted to stay home and play with her new toy. Of course, as anyone would. My mother, oh, so she started walking around the house the night before, dramatically coughing whenever her parents were around, um, and complain about how her throat hurt and basically, oh, I'm so sick. Smart move. Eventually, my mother was so annoyed by my theatrics and informed me that we would be going to the doctor for a professional opinion. Basically, her mom calls her bluff, takes her to the doctor, and so Anna goes on to tell us that she gets so worked up about being caught in a lie, the lie of pretending to be sick, that she stressed herself out enough that she was actually sick by the time she went to the doctor. Now that I've learned a bit about how negative thinking can destroy the effectiveness of our immune system, I realize that this isn't that far-fetched of an idea to believe. Some of the top medical research centers in the US are actively researching how negativity affects our overall health. Who? Where? What? When? Cite these things. I think she does. Oh, yeah. The Mayo Clinic. Okay. What papers? What? Like, you can't. It's not enough to just say Harvard. Harvard researchers have found. You have to cite the paper. That's why the footnotes are important, because a full citation is almost a whole damn paragraph. Like, it's a small paragraph, but it's a whole ass paragraph. Obviously, you don't want to insert that into your narrative, your book, every time you're mentioning it. But that's why you just put footnote 1. And then people can just go back to the book, go back to the back of your book and look at your research. Excuse me a second. Somebody was like, you moving around in your chair a lot is very distracting. Well, you know what? Being 5 foot tall and not having your feet touch the ground is kind of a pain in the ass. So, trade-offs. Anyway. You can, obviously you can. You can just say the Mayo Clinic. The Mayo Clinic does a lot. So does Johns Hopkins down here. Okay? You have to cite the researchers, you need to cite the papers, you need to cite what the work was looking at specifically. Because not all of these things are going to be, you might have 5 different universities doing 5 different researches, 5 different projects on 5 different aspects of positivity and positive thinking. You need to be able to tell me which ones are looking at what, why, and how the research came out. Okay? That's why this book just kind of feels like incomplete. It feels like dough that hasn't risen. You know, it's just it feels like you're reading some high schooler's research paper that was not quite hastily put together, but incomplete when turned in. She says, quote, I should note that being a positive person doesn't mean you should obsess over living a perfectly healthy life. In fact, simply choosing to live your life on the sunny side of the street will naturally make you tend towards making healthier life choices. Well, if that's true, then clearly Anna is not choosing to live on the sunny side of the street. One of the major changes in my day-to-day life versus back when I was an angry, quote, negative Nancy, end quote, is that I smile more. I like that she just straight admits that she's faking it. It's fine to fake things if you need to. There are certain social situations where you're going to suck it up because it's do or die in that sort of a situation. Even if it's a faked, totally forced smile, she says it reduces your heart rate and blood pressure during stressful situations. According to who? And how did they test this? So basically, Anna's just admitting that she just fake smiles her way through life because she thinks it's making her a better person by the act of smiling. She's not smiling because she's happy. She thinks that by smiling, she will become happy. And remember, she was talking about in here, like, there's going to be steps. She's going to give us actionable steps that we can do. So here's one of the actionable step boxes. Simple ways to boost your health with positivity. 1. Keep a daily journal of positive things happening in your life. Gratitude journals have been around for a really long time at this point. 2. Take a short walk around your neighborhood and smile at the people you pass. No. Every time you find yourself in front of a mirror, say something kind to yourself. Gosh darn it, people like you. It was me adding that. Call someone you love and tell them how important they are to you. What if you don't have somebody to call? What if you don't love anyone? I'm kidding. The problem with these steps isn't necessarily that they're bad. They're not. But they have been recommended by pretty much every self-help guru that I have ever read, watched, or listened to. There's nothing new here. Anna isn't coming up with this. Anna's not even putting her own spin on this, okay? It's just regurgitation of everyone else. You know, it's just the same stuff, new day kind of a thing. I'm looking at the time here. Let's go ahead and wrap this first video up here. If you've made it this far in the video and you're liking it, go ahead and put a book down in the emoji section. Put your book down in the emoji section. Let me know what you guys think. Have you read Anna's book? Have you listened to Anna's audiobook? What do you think? Have you read other self-help stuff? Other positive thinking things? How do you see the comparisons here? What do you think of Anna's little stories throughout the book? There's going to be more of them, trust me, as we go. But let me know what you guys think. And what do you think of her, like, I'm so positive, nothing bothers me, I just smile my way through everything, compared to everything Anna's done since the Target haul, or since the Target incident onwards. It wasn't a haul, it was a Target incident onwards, because that's how long I've been critically looking at Anna, okay? So if you're new to my channel, that's all the further back that my stuff on her goes. Now, let me know what you guys think of her attitude in the book compared to her real life attitude as she projects it through her videos. Do keep in mind, this was published in 2018. It is not revised, so there's no updates to this. So this book is 2018. Everything Anna's been doing recently is like 2023, 2024 now. So, all right, I will do the second half of this. Yeah, I'll do the second half of this chapter in the next video, and given enough time, we will move on to the second chapter as well. So I will see everybody in the next one. Bye! This is my outro music. You can't copyright strike me because it's just me singing. This is my outro music. Thank you for watching. See you next time.